Welcome back to the Banners broadcast. I'm Chris Grenham, and with me, as always, Nick Gelso. Nick, it is Thursday morning, so No, not really. I got home from the Garden at 3
We're
last
still at the
night.
Garden.
Yeah, basically, our minds are still at the Garden. That's for sure.
For sure.
I mean, there was so much to unwrap last night from the Garden. I woke up this morning, and it was still so mind-blowing to me that Kyrie can go out and have, in my opinion, what was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Like, all around, getting his teammates involved. One of the best games I've ever seen him play. 27 points, career high, 18 assists. He was 11 for 19 from the field in 37 minutes. But we're all talking about LeBron. It's like, it's mind-blowing. You definitely didn't see that coming, right?
The only one that saw it coming was Kyrie because he had it planned.
I actually am on the same page with you there.
Yeah. Think
about it. Just think about it. He flipped this entire script, including the Cleveland script, including the post-game in Orlando script, everything on its head within, 2 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, was it that intentional with that intent, or are we giving Kyrie too much credit? I don't know, man. All I know is he intended to say that last night. He was sincere in what he was saying. I mean, I got home from the game late last night. I didn't watch any of our segments. I put on Kyrie on my TV off our YouTube channel and the CLNS YouTube channel and just watched it on TV. The dude looked like he was going to get choked up at a couple points.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a big deal for him. That's been taboo to talk about LeBron with Kyrie for the last couple years. It's been very taboo.
The best was how the media immediately after, the minute he paused, it was the entire scrum. LeBron, and he said, whoa, stop. I knew this was going to happen.
Everyone exploded. I think everyone in that scrum yelled for a question after that.
They
Understandably
did.
so.
And I think, just because Kyrie had it intended to do that, and maybe he didn't intend for the last 3-4 days. Maybe it just came to him after the game. Whatever, whether it was intentional or not, I'm not questioning his sincerity. I do think that he's sincere and he is learning. I mean, for him to say an egomaniac like Kyrie, and I love him, you know that, but for him to say, I'm learning as we go, he's still learning too. That's a huge, huge admission for him, and I think it's going to help the whole team. I mean, I'm hoping the storyline now changes from that horrible road trip you and Josue were on, which was great to cover, just horrible to watch.
Yeah, exactly. There was no shortage of content on that trip. It might have been bad, but, man, there was a lot of stuff to talk about.
I was thinking about you guys nonstop, and I'm thinking, oh, thank God they're there, because there was just so much.
There was so much. The post-game write-ups, everything. We were there for at least 3 hours after every game. It was just so much, which is the funnest to cover. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a ton of fun. The team wasn't having fun, but I was certainly enjoying myself. I was having fun, but I think what you said about, it's kind of like a step forward for Kyrie to admit this, and part of it, he's an egomaniac, like you said, as most professional athletes are. That's part of how they get there. It's a big step forward for him to admit that, and it probably killed him. Part of him, to say LeBron was right, and also to say Jaylen Brown was right. It probably, a little bit of a bruised ego there, but it's a big step forward. He's 26 years old. He still is evolving as a leader and a player. People really forget that this is his first time in this role.
What were you doing at 26, Chris?
I'm not there yet, but I guarantee you, I won't be giving LeBron a call to apologize. I won't be doing that. But I mean, like, he's still in an interesting spot where he's evolving very much. People think he's already this established guy, established leader, but he's really not.
I'm wondering, and Brad has been so weirdly cryptic and muted during this whole
Sly Brad,
media junket, press junket that the team's been doing. I'm wondering if he's just letting them work it out. I mean, I don't know, but it seems someone got in Kyrie's head. Maybe Kyrie got it in his own head. I had no problem with the comments he made. I mean, in Orlando, I think I texted you. You were at that game. I mean, him yelling at Hayward, it looked like LeBron at that that point.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, it sounded like it afterward, too, with the way he was calling out the young guys, because that's what LeBron used to do to him. Him and Dion Waiters. He would. Yep. I specifically remember there were certain games in Kyrie's rookie year where he would just be chucking up threes. LeBron would go stagnant, and then after the game, he would say, these young guys don't really know what it takes. He was a little more direct than Kyrie's comments LeBron. In Orlando. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, can this now allow guys like Tatum and Brown to play a bit more freely? I don't know. I mean,
I think my concern in terms of guys being wrapped up, and like Jaylen Brown said, going into a shell potentially after those comments. Granted, the comments are now basically washed after last night's postgame, but I'm not concerned with with Jason Tatum, because you saw Tatum come out after the Brooklyn game and say he's right. We got to kind of provoke one another. We kind of got to get at one another to bring out the best, and that's fine. But they're boys. Like, he's almost like Kyrie's really little brother. They have the same agent. They vacation together. Like, that's a little bit different. You look at a guy like Jaylen Brown, who's not as tight with Kyrie, and he seemed to have some sort of agenda after the game in Brooklyn, kind of going at him back and forth. Whether the question was about Kyrie or not, he was bringing it up. So I think it bothered Jaylen more than it bothered Tatum.
Well, and that's not a surprise. I mean, I think Jaylen is incredibly thin-skinned.
I don't know if I would say thin-skinned. I just think he is more confrontational, or easily, like, I guess thin-skinned is an okay way to put it. Yeah, I know what you mean. He's
disagree with me if you think. I mean, thin-skinned, I mean he's sensitive. You see it on the court.
He is, yeah, and you can tell, and sometimes he'll go quiet and stuff. But either way, it was pretty clear that they cleared things up for Kyrie to go in front of the media and admit that. It was fine. But quick, if
unsolicited. And the other thing too is Kyrie and Brown are similar in the way that they both want to be, and I think they are both very intellectual, but they want to be perceived as intellectuals. So,
right. And they are, and they're two of the smarter guys I've ever had.
Two smart guys, right.
Yeah, right.
But I think they would butt heads.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, like you said, I had no issue with anything that Kyrie said. There was nothing incorrect. It was all reasonable. It was all valid. My only problem was it was out in the media. I don't like him airing out that dirty laundry in the media, which I'm sure the team doesn't either. And clearly he learned that the hard way, because he said, I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I'm sure Danny Ainge sat him down. I'm positive.
Someone did, or maybe he saw how people were reacting. I don't know, but something clicked.
Maybe he saw the media reaction, because we know he's a media whore too.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could have, because he got on the horn and called LeBron, who was at dinner with Kevin Love, of all people.
That's hilarious. I mean, the other thing is, all Kyrie really had to do is watch the tape, because he looked like LeBron. I mean, he was even making the same hand gesture, and it wasn't even at Brown or any of the youngsters. It was at Gordon.
Yeah, and I mean, Gordon is someone who he's called out before. Maybe he just has a more transparent relationship with Gordon, since they've both been in the league for longer.
Lost his cool.
Maybe. I mean, granted, I'm kind of on Kyrie's side with that last play. I've seen that play again and again and again. Stevens likes that inbounds play. That's a play where Horford comes to the top. He springs out Kyrie above the break, and Kyrie gets the open look. That's just,
it was weird that Kyrie's situated with so little time on the clock, and I don't want to get too far into this, but it was weird that Kyrie situated himself so far back in the backcourt. I know he's trying to spread the floor, but with 2.9 seconds on the clock?
Exactly, and that's what Hayward said. He was like, I didn't have a lot of time, man. Like, I gotta figure this out. I can't adapt.
And Tatum got a good look. It's not like he didn't get a good look. That goes down. Whatever. You're not having a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. And my whole thing with a lot of this negative press, of course, this is all with a grain of salt now that Kyrie essentially cleaned the slate last night. But this kind of stuff, you got Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris pushing each other in the huddle. You've got calling each other out on the court, calling out young guys. It's an 82-game season. Yeah. This stuff happens with every single team. I don't care what you say. And if you've played a single season of basketball at any level, you know this stuff happens. And you yell at each other on the court, and then you come off and whatever. It's fine. It's all on the court, and you figure it out. Granted, not all of it is public to millions and millions of people, so that's the difference here. But I think there's a little bit of overreaction in the sense that the that scuffle in the huddle in Miami. And Kyrie, I don't know. I just think a lot of it is overblown to the point where people are freaking out about the team. Granted,
I think
there's not as much after last night's win, but you get what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure you saw my opinions on this in the Celtics blog Slack.
Yeah.
I watched KG make Big Baby cry, right? I mean, that was great, right?
Yeah.
So, but the difference with that team, and even Rondo, at times you'd see him go at Doc. But the difference with that team is when you got them in the locker room, they really didn't air their dirty laundry. It took a Jackie Mack story in the middle of July to tell you what they were really pissed off about 6 months ago.
Right.
So I look at it mainly as a lack of discipline and a lack of maturity.
In what regard, a lack of discipline?
Well, I think all the way around, but in regards to not being able to keep your mouth shut to the media. And again, I don't have any problems with what Kyrie said, but if things are being handled differently in practice, like off camera, off scene, and then it almost becomes like a finger pointing,
Yeah.
And the other thing is Kyrie has got to learn, and I think he is learning, he's got to lead by example. The dude can bust up a basketball court. We all know that.
Yeah.
But it's real hard for Kyrie as a 26-year-old guy, championship or not, he was LeBron's protege on that team. It's hard for a guy to come into a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and was a much more cohesive team than this team is.
Right.
And then start telling the young guys how to do things. So a mature person would say, well, Kyrie he's walked the mile. He's gotten to the title. He had how many years with LeBron? I think I should take his advice. And I think they're not. And frustration overblows then. And then Kyrie doesn't have the discipline to keep his mouth shut. And he goes out and talks. And then he's apologizing a week later.
Yeah, and again, this all, in my opinion, this all comes back to he's evolving as a leader. He's evolving as a locker room guy. This is just part of his evolution. And the team knew that coming in. Like, this is not news that Kyrie hasn't led a team
clearly
like this
Kyrie
before.
Didn't know it because he thought he knew it all.
Exactly. And I would never in my life have thought that at this point in the year or at this point in the saga, even last week, that Kyrie would be coming into the media saying, hey, I was wrong. And
again, unsolicited.
Unsolicited. This is a learning experience for me. Granted, part of me, like you started this off with, is saying, well, this is kind of his way of wiping the slate clean. And,
right.
And it's totally possible because he's a smart guy. He knows how to manipulate the media in that regard. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I mean, this schedule doesn't get much easier. Next Saturday, the Warriors are coming to town to TD Garden. You've got a deal from 1-100, right?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. What a segue, Grenham. You guys are so good at this, man. Yeah, 1-100. So if you go to clnsmedia.com/CelticsGSW, you could enter in a raffle to win. I mean, these are basically courtside tickets. A raffle's less than a pizza or a beer. I think it's like a $17 or $15 entry at this point. And we're still looking at 40 open placements. So it's made the cutoff to run the raffle regardless of how many people sign up. So you need 30 to sign up.
It's a no-brainer to sign up.
They have 60. Yeah, man. So you have a 1 in 60 chance. If you and your girlfriend sign up, you have a 2 in 60 chance. If it goes to 100, you got a 2 in 100 chance. But
get your entire family, extended family, neighbors, friends, coworkers, get everyone you know to go see Steph Curry at TD Garden. In all seriousness, seriously, that would be a good move. That would be a great move.
I know people have done it, and if you think about it, those tickets are going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You could get in there for $20.
I was out at, this is a weird segue here in the middle of this ad read, but hear me out. I was over at Assembly Row in Somerville yesterday because I needed new Nike socks, so I went to the outlet.
Oh man, that's a big trip to go.
Big trip. So I needed new socks. That's important. As you get older, the importance of socks grows and grows, in my opinion. But so I was at the checkout, and I had on a Charlotte Hornets hoodie, which I had acquired through another person who covers teams in the league. And the guy said, "Where'd you get that hoodie?" And I said, whatever. I cover the Celtics, and I exchanged it with someone in the league. And he said, "Oh man, do you know how I can get Warriors tickets?" And I was like, it's funny. I've had a lot of people asking me, and he interrupted me. He goes, yeah, because I was trying to get them for my dad and I, and the cheapest tickets I could find were $400 in the last row of the nosebleeds. So I was like, damn,
that's what I mean.
If you don't go to 1-100 for this game of all games, you're crazy.
Right. Yeah. So you can go directly to the raffle by going to clnsmedia.com/CelticsGSW or check out their whole site. 1 in 100. So ONEIN, the number 1, the number 0, the number 0 .co, not .com. So yeah, that's the drill, baby.
That's it.
As currently, I have 17 No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no one knows this, but I've taken up every single slot in the Warriors, in the Warriors raffle for all of my friends and family.
Well, and I would say the Celtics have a 1 in 100 chance of winning that game. Actually,
honestly, we talked about this last night. I disagree. The way they play,
agree with you.
The way they play against these good teams, they'll win by 20. It makes no sense. They'll win by 20. They'll go and lose to the Hornets by 50. It doesn't add up, but it's the classic example of a team playing to their competition. Do you think, is that going to stop at any time?
It's going to, hopefully it stops in the playoffs. This team, I've been pretty good with my predictions this year, Chris. I think so. Even going into the summer with you.
Yeah.
I just feel like this team is built like 2010. I think they can flip a switch. I honestly do, because I really believe that, and this is what frustrates me the most, is that it's in their head. Because when they come out and they have to prove something, they're incredible. Like last night, Wednesday night, they were pretty incredible. Yeah. Granted, Kyrie had to be, Superman, but they were pretty. I mean, you had the big three. All three of them are scoring 18 points, which is, the first time that's happened. So you have all three on at once. They're a tough team to beat when all three are on at once. So I think come playoff time, Al Horford steps it up 10 notches in the playoffs. By that time, you got Hayward, who's now at the point where he's on a drastic incline despite a bad road trip. But I mean, Wednesday night he looked great.
Yeah.
So by the playoffs, he should be doing.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, I'm not. A lot of people are drilling the panic button, and I understand the panic after that road trip. It was quite bumpy, but I don't really see. There's a long season. We're pre-All-Star break, and I get when you return from the All-Star break, there's only about a quarter of the year left. But still, this is a team that could really flip the switch, and it's like, and we've seen them do it. I mean, obviously they allowed 40-plus points in a third quarter against the Brooklyn Nets, and then 2 days later they beat the Raptors. They beat the best team in the East. It just simply doesn't really add up. But
Chris, I got killed last night on my segment of the Garden Report for calling this team the Jeff Green of teams. But that's how they played all season. I mean, they go out, they beat the Raptors, they come back, they lay a stinker against Memphis. Now, Memphis is a good team, but plug anybody in there. You can plug the Hawks in there. Yeah. They've just been so up and down. And again, continue what you were saying, because I'm on the same level with you when once playoffs start. One caveat is they need to improve their road, because I don't know that they're going to have home court.
Their home road splits are bad. Oh, really bad. Really bad. The good thing is they do have a lot of home games down this final stretch here. And hopefully that improves. I mean, I thought Gordon put it pretty perfectly in postgame last night. He said, we need to create our own energy, because they were talking about how much they fed off the Garden crowd last night, which, by the way, was insanely loud.
And it will be on Saturday, next Saturday against the Warriors. That's an 8:30 start. That crowd's going to be drunk.
That's a primetime.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I mean, they do need to find a way to create their own energy. It's just good teams do that, and the Celtics haven't been able to find a way. I saw last night Matt Moore with the Action Network. Shout out Matt Moore.
Yeah, I love Matt
Moore.
He
tweeted. It was perfect. He tweeted, the Celtics are so good when they're not sucking. And that's it. Like, it sounds so simple and so stupid, but it's right, because, man, they can really, really suck. But when they don't, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, man. And if you look at Brad Stevens' teams, I mean, in the past, every team he's had that's done well has always been an underdog and always fighting from behind. I don't know if there's any correlation at all. I just know that Brad Stevens can motivate his guys when when they're fighting, whether it's being the underdog or just fighting from behind. So hopefully that's the case. I mean,
people are mad that he's not like talking more and like being more motivational. That's not Brad Stevens. He's not going to change his ways. The reason how he got here, how he got last year's team to be so successful, he's not a giant, loud, outspoken figure. You know?
I agree, but you know what though, Chris? When your team is out airing all their laundry to the media, at some point you've got to put a stop to it.
In what form?
And
I
don't know. Maybe he is, and he can't control. But then he can't control them, and that's even scary.
But what do you mean put a stop to it? Like how do you do that?
We don't air. I mean, think Belichick.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, maybe that's what he did. Maybe that's why we would never know. But like, you want him to do that publicly?
He did it way too late because it's been going on now for months. I mean, I'm not.
But again, I don't think that's Brad Stevens' way, and I don't want him to change his philosophy. I know it started to get pretty ugly there, but I wouldn't want him to step in the media and say we're no longer talking about this.
See, I'm kind of like First of all, I don't think he should. When I was saying that in the chat yesterday, I didn't mean Brad should be coming out and bad-mouthing and calling out his players. I mean, I don't want player meetings. I don't want to hear anything else. The coach just needs to say, shut the F up. If you guys have something to say it here together when the doors are shut, not to the media.
Well, I mean, the player meeting was one, definitely necessary, and two, there's no way of avoiding that unless they do it the next day at the practice facility.
Right.
And even then, there's too many guys who have too many camps around them. That stuff will always be public. It will never not be private because there are too many guys
hearing about it. What I'm saying is, okay, we've had the team meeting and you've proceeded to go on the road and call out your teammates in public. So the team meeting didn't work.
Yeah,
I'm telling you now, shut the F up. If you have a problem with your teammates, tell them. Don't tell the media.
And hey, I mean, they are doing that. They're just also telling the media. And that I agree with the dirty laundry. But either way, it seems as though that the transparency is clearly there, and now they've learned their lesson about the media. At least Kyrie has. So I think we think at this point. But who knows? Either way, last night was an incredibly balanced performance from a team that hasn't been all that balanced as of late. Of course, you had Kyrie Irving with his career high of 18 assists, 27 points. He was efficient as hell. You had Gordon Hayward looking pretty good. What are you making, coffee or something in the background there? What are you doing? The hell is that?
Starting the Keurig.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry, I didn't know the mic picked that up.
No,
that was the alarm saying you've spoken too much today, Nick. Let Chris talk.
You need to drink some coffee. Yeah. But either way, I mean, they were balanced. Al Horford was 9 for 12, 7 rebounds, 24 points.
That's playoff Al.
That's playoff Al. He was 3 for 4 from 3. He has been horrific from 3 over the last month or so. Jason Tatum had 16.
At the bottom of the pack, right?
Yeah, seriously. Jason Tatum had 16. He shot 50% from the field. He was 6 for 16 actually, but still, 16 points. He was plus 4. Gordon Hayward 18. He was 8 for 13 from the field. It was balanced, and even Terry Rozier was okay.
It was what you expect.
Exactly. So, who knows what we're gonna get against Memphis? I mean, this team could come out and play like they did last Wednesday against Indiana. They could put up 150 points. Everyone could score in double figures, or they could come out and lose by 75 points. So I guess this team always keeps it interesting.
Until that ends, the concern for me doesn't end. Like, I know I'm saying, I think this team is built for the playoffs, and I do believe that, but I'm not feeling comfortable. I mean, I held my breath through all of 2010, so I would be like suffocating this year because there's no KG, there's no Pierce, there's no Allen, right? So,
man,
if we're guessing after a huge win, like if they don't come out, and Kyrie said this, if they don't come out and beat Memphis, play up to their opponent, then last night the Toronto win was meaningless.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm riding the wave, man. I'm having fun. We have no idea what we're getting every day. I've never rooted for, covered a team. I've never been around a team like this, and I am riding this roller coaster. And I hate roller coasters. I hate them. But I'm having a lot of fun here recently.
2010 was this way. I mean, I remember at one point, KG, we talk about not airing out your laundry. He went out into the the tunnel after they got booed off the court. I think they were playing Memphis. They got booed off the court. KG goes out into the tunnel, basically says, F you, the media, say whatever you want. I mean, it was ugly that season, and they just pulled it together in that first round, and it just continued throughout the playoffs. So hopefully I'm anticipating that being the case, but I do think they need to at least sneak into that 4th and 3rd seed. They need to have, I believe home court advantage is more important to this team than previous teams. They just...
Yeah, they feed off the TD Garden crowd pretty well, and they're a different team on the road. But either way, who knows? Maybe they'll get Brooklyn in the first round, and they'll lose by 20 points on the road, so we'll have to wait and see. Either way, Nick, we've got the Grizzlies on Friday. Then they have a back-to-back, actually. They go to Atlanta on Saturday, and then they have a day off, and they return to TD Garden for a 6 o'clock start against the Miami Heat on Monday, Martin Luther King Day.
Yep, yeah, so, I mean, now think about this. If you want to, and then, well, I know you're looking to wrap here, but think about it this way. Yeah, the Celtics can win Toronto last night. I could see them beating Memphis on Friday and then losing to Atlanta on Saturday. It's a trap game.
Back-to-backs are weird no matter who you're playing. So, yeah, I could see that as well.
And I would not be overly cliff jumping into the harbor if that happens. I mean, that happens to good teams too. But this Grizzlies game on Friday, I think it's more important than anybody will give it credit for being, because it could be really a momentum builder if they could come in to the Garden and put up the type of performance they did on Wednesday night against the Raptors. And maybe Kyrie doesn't have to, be super Kyrie.
I agree. And I mean, I think some things are changing, in my opinion, and I think they win by 15, 20 points on Friday.
Really?
I do. That's just my opinion.
Are you placing a wager on that, man, or what?
I'm placing maybe. I don't know. That's all off the record. That's all off the record. Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. I don't even think you could get. I don't know if you can gamble games if you're. I don't think I can.
Games. I don't think I can.
I don't think I can either. I don't gamble games. Period. Yeah. I'm more of a casino guy. Hey, speaking of, we'll be out at Springfield this coming weekend.
Yeah, the Hoop Hall Classic. No,
you were shocked when I told you I was going.
Yeah, I didn't think that was your kind of event. That's like a lot of just like basketball nerds jumping out there. So I'm happy you'll be there. I'll get to.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious to see how the high school game is, let's say, devolving to match the pro game.
It is changing. It is definitely changing. Either way, this is my favorite basketball event in the country.
A lot of people say this, and that's why I'm really excited to go. I have to actually text Goodman. I was supposed to remind him last night to get me the tickets.
It is a small gym, and it is. You'll love it. It's amazing. NBA. I mean, a quarter of the guys you see there will be in the NBA in a couple years. That's always the case. It's a lot of fun. So if anyone's listening and at the Hoop Hall Classic, I'll be there Saturday, Sunday, and a little bit on Monday. So come say hello to Nick and I. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. Tweet us. This is good, man.
I'll see you out in Springfield.
I'll see you out in Springfield, bro.
This is Jeff Goodman, host of the Good and Plenty podcast on the CLNS Media Network. We've got 2 podcasts. Every Tuesday, we've got the NBA edition. Anyway, I've known Boogie a long time, and I like him now. We didn't get along forever.
Hold on. Since you bringing up Boogie, Jeff, have you told the story you and Boogie's interaction a few times? That would make for golden podcast material right there.
When he cornered me coming out of STK in Vegas. Every Thursday, we've got the College Hoops edition, where you'll find the top coaches, players, media people. You get insight that you will not find anywhere else. So subscribe to the Good and Plenty podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or find us on www.clnsmedia.com.